Each year, New York State invests hundreds of millions of dollars in university research. The challenge is to transform that research investment into commercially viable products and processes. A lack of business and legal information and analysis can be a roadblock in the development of these early-stage technologies. The New York State Science and Technology Law Center addresses this problem by building on the expertise in technology commercialization at the Syracuse University College of Law. Experienced faculty and law students provide business and legal research services to New York State universities, research centers, established corporations, and startup companies to help transform research into economic growth.
My name is James McGrath. I'm a professor of biomedical engineering here at the University of Rochester. I'm also one of the founders of SiMPore, which is a local startup that manufactures ultra-thin silicon-based membranes. The fact that we were able to show that we could do things, and things actually that I had tried to do as a researcher that I could never do, were suddenly made possible by this material. So we understood that there was commercial potential. And I was fortunate enough to have a graduate student, Tom Gaborski at the time, working for me, who really did have a mindset that he wanted to start a business. And when this showed up, in combination with the few things that were going on in the business school where they were looking at our technology, because we had filed intellectual property, the business student, Jamie Russi, was looking at our technology, and in combination with Tom's interest in starting a business, it just kind of all made sense that we should do this. We could work with you to sort of get a better estimate of what our market potential was, and actually to look at some of the IP that we had worked very hard on. We really didn't know where it stood relative to other intellectual property and other membrane technologies in particular. It was very early days of SiMPore, and we were in the process of raising money and trying to make a business case but at the same time we really didn't have a great business case. So our expectations were that by working with your program, we would have a much better presentation to those investors. And we had a very successful round. So that first round really launched SiMPore, and in part we were able to use the material that came out of the program to help us do that. We spent a lot of time looking at developing our own intellectual property, but we did not know the type of competitive IP that was out there that might hinder us in the future. We actually learned through the research that was done in your program that there wasn't really a lot of innovation in the membrane space. And so we were comforted by that, because we were really one of the first innovators to come along in a very, very long time. So a lot of things were off patent that might be competitive and weren't really being used. In terms of market potential, we had done a little bit of our own work. What we learned through your program was we confirmed some things that we thought, just based on our own experience and our own discussions with folks, that those markets were real, and that was very empowering for us to go forward. We learned a little bit more, obviously, about the size and magnitude of those markets, but in terms of the market space and our idea for launching the business, we got a lot of confirmation of our own ideas, which is very empowering. We've managed to get a foothold eventually. It's taken time. To interface with a lot of people who have done it before. And that's the advice we got. And it didn't mean, I must admit, it didn't mean an awful lot to me at the time. Why is that important? But it is very difficult to get a handle on a market and to know how to enter a market. And so the more interfacing you do with people who've actually done that before, the more likely it is that you're going to actually, one of those solutions that you see, one of those ideas that from the outside actually resonates with what you're trying to do and actually makes it go. So get a lot of advice and be persistent if you can. Sometimes it's very difficult to keep these ideas moving forward because it takes a lot of money and it takes a lot of energy. But if you have a good idea, its time will come if you can continue to push. SiMPore is very excited to be moving forward on dialysis membranes. This has really been the holy grail of our material. We've always thought if we could apply the efficiency of our membranes to an important medical problem like hemodialysis or renal failure, we'd really make an impact. And this is something we saw from the beginning, but was so far in the future, especially back then. But now that we've kind of grown up to this degree, and the research on applying our membranes to dialysis has continued and actually been doing quite well. We are really looking forward to a day when SiMPore is big enough and to provide dialysis membranes to a company, probably not SiMPore itself, but another company that's actually building a dialysis device that people can wear. So they'll be able to, instead of going to a dialysis center several times a week and being strapped to a large machine, this would be a device that's so efficient that they can just basically wear it, and it would clear their blood of toxins while they're moving around at home or while they're sleeping. And they can do it on a continuous basis, which we know has a lot of benefits. We see ourselves moving in that direction in the next 5 to 7 years.